There is a particular sound a house makes when it has gone wrong, and you know it even though no one ever taught you to listen for it. It is not loud. It is the sound of two people in the same room not speaking, the air between them thick as water. It is the door that gets closed a little too firmly. It is the sigh that is meant to be heard. It is the child who has learned to read the weather of the kitchen before deciding whether to come in. Your home makes this sound more often than you would like to admit, and when it does, something in your chest goes tight and stays tight, and you carry that tightness out into the world the next morning, and you wonder why you are so tired, so short, so quick to break. People believe a home is the place you go to recover from the world, but for a great many people, the home is the wound, and the world is where they go to recover from the home. And the strangest part, the part almost no one sees, is that the peace of a home does not come from the people in it loving each other more. It comes from three things, three small disciplines that have nothing to do with how much love is present and everything to do with how that love is handled. I have watched homes full of love tear themselves apart for the want of these three things, and I have watched homes with very little to work with become havens because they had them. They are not feelings, they are practices, and any home can begin them tonight. I want you to sit with that, because the world has sold you a false cure. You have been told that a peaceful home is a matter of the right people, the right partner, the right children, the right circumstances, and that if your home is not at peace, it is because something is wrong with the people in it, and the answer is to fix the people, or to leave them, or to wait for them to change. And so you have spent years trying to change the people you live with, which is the one thing that has never worked and never will, and the tightness has not left. There is another way to think about a home, much older than the advice you have been given, and it does not ask you to change a single person under your roof. It asks you to change how the home itself is kept, the way you might tend a fire so that it warms the room instead of burning it down. The peace was never going to come from everyone becoming better. It comes from three rules kept by even one person that change the very air a family breathes. I am going to give you those three rules. My name is Jigme Dorji. I am a monk, and I am 76 years old. I have lived most of my life in a community of men under one roof, sharing every meal and every silence and every long winter, and I will tell you a thing that surprises people. Monks are not gentle by nature, and a monastery is not peaceful by magic. Put any group of human beings together long enough, and there will be friction, irritation, the small daily collisions of wills, the same as in any family or any marriage. We did not have peace because we were holy. We had peace because we kept certain rules about how we lived together, rules worn smooth by centuries of people discovering what tears a shared life apart and what holds it together. Those rules are not secret, and they are not only for monks. They work in any home, between any people, and they are what I am going to give you now, for free, in the next few minutes. It is the same thing dressed up and sold back to you in expensive counseling and courses and retreats, and the heart of it, the part that actually works, is so simple and so quiet that no one can build much of a business around it. So they sell you the complicated version. I am going to hand you the three plain rules underneath. I am going to give you three rules for a peaceful home. I am going to tell you why each one works, the actual reason it changes the air of a house, so you trust it because you understand it. I am going to be honest about what these will do and what they will not, because there are people who will tell you that three simple rules will heal any home, no matter what is happening in it, and that is not true, and I will not tell you a thing that is not true. And then I am going to tell you the part that should trouble you a little, which is why a whole world that profits from your conflict will never teach you the quiet rules that end it. Stay with me. This one is worth 4 quiet minutes. Let me start with the first rule, because it is the one the whole piece of a house rests on, and it is this: never speak from the heat. In every home, the damage is not done by the disagreement. Homes can hold disagreement. People can want different things and live in peace. The damage is done in the hot moment, the flare, when the feeling rises and the mouth opens before the mind has returned, and the sharp word goes out, the cruel true thing, the sentence aimed to wound, and it lands, and it cannot be unsaid. Consider how unequal the exchange is. The heat that produces the cruel word lasts perhaps a minute. The word itself can last a lifetime, replayed in the other person's mind for years, brought back out in every future quarrel, lodged in a child's memory long after you have forgotten you ever said it. You spend a permanent thing to satisfy a passing one. A home is destroyed not by its conflicts, but by the things said in the heat of them, and those things are almost never what the person truly meant. They are only what the heat meant. So the first rule is a hard and simple discipline. When the heat rises in you, you do not speak. You say plainly, "I need a moment," and you step away, not in anger but as a practice, and you let the wave fall before you return to the matter. This is not avoidance, and it is not weakness. It is the single most powerful thing one person can do to change a home, because the hot word is the thing that does 9/10 of all the harm, and a person who simply refuses to release it, who waits for the heat to pass before speaking, removes 9/10 of the harm from the house single-handed. You do not need both people to keep this rule. One is enough to change the weather. Be the one who never speaks from the fire. The second rule follows from the first, and it is the one most people skip, which is a shame, because it is the rule that actually mends what the first rule merely protects. It is this: tend the small things before they become large ones. In every home there are small frictions, the little resentments, the minor hurts, the things that annoy, and most people do one of two ruinous things with them. They explode over them, which is the failure of the first rule. Or, far more commonly, they swallow them again and again, telling themselves it is not worth mentioning, until the swallowed things pile up in the dark and harden into a wall. And one day a tiny thing happens and the whole wall comes down at once, and neither person understands the size of the collapse. The second rule is to speak the small things while they are still small, gently, in a cool moment, before they have had time to gather weight. There is an art to this, and it is not the art of complaint. You do not wait until you are angry and then deliver the grievance as an accusation. That is the wall coming down. You mention the small thing lightly, early, before it has any heat in it at all, the way you might mention that a window is open and letting in a draft, not as a charge against the person, but simply as a thing to be set right between you. A small thing spoken this way costs almost nothing and is received as almost nothing, and it is gone. The same thing swallowed and saved for 6 months arrives, when it finally arrives, as a flood and is received as an attack, and does tenfold the harm it would have done if spoken on the first day. My old teacher said to me once, and I have never been able to shake it, "The thorn left in the foot does not stay small, it festers, and what could have been removed with 2 fingers must later be cut out with a knife." A home is kept not by avoiding all friction, but by clearing the small frictions quickly and kindly in the cool of the day, so that nothing is ever left to harden. Pull the thorn while it is small. Never let the wall begin to build. The third rule is the one that holds the whole house together, and it is this: protect the home as a sanctuary, a place set apart, whose peace is guarded on purpose. A home does not become a refuge by accident. It becomes a refuge because the people in it decide, together or even alone, that certain things will not be carried across its threshold and certain things will be honored within it. The world's noise, the day's resentment, the endless distraction of the glowing screens that pull every person at the table away into a separate elsewhere, these are let in carelessly, and they erode the sanctuary without anyone deciding they should. The third rule is to guard the home actively, to keep some time and some space within it free of the world's intrusion, to come to the table as people who are actually present to one another, to mark the home as different from everywhere else, a place where one is safe, attended to, and at rest. Begin where it is simplest, at the table, one meal a day, or even a few minutes of one, with every screen dark and set aside and out of reach, with the world shut out and the people present to each other, will do more for the peace of a home than 100 good intentions. It feels strange at first, even uncomfortable, because we have forgotten how to simply be together without the elsewhere pulling at us, and the silence may feel like a thing that needs filling. Let it feel strange. The strangeness passes, and what comes after it is the thing your family has been starving for without knowing its name. Presence, the plain experience of being fully with the people you love. This is the deepest rule, because it is the one that gives the home its reason to exist. A house where everyone is physically present, but each is lost in a separate distance, is not a home. It is a waiting room. Make your home a sanctuary on purpose. Guard its threshold and its quiet, and it becomes the one place in a hard world where the people you love can finally lay the weight down. That is the whole of it. Never speak from the heat. Tend the small things before they grow large, and guard the home as a sanctuary set apart. 3 rules, and beneath them one truth. The peace of a home is not a feeling you wait to receive, but a discipline you choose to keep, and even one person keeping it can change the air that everyone breathes. Now I have to be honest with you about what these will do and what they will not, because this is exactly where people overstate it. These 3 rules will make a good home better and a struggling home gentler, but they are not a cure for everything that can go wrong between people. They will not by themselves mend a betrayal that has broken the deep trust a home is built on, and they will not fix a home where one person is unwilling to keep any rule at all and uses the other's restraint against them. And I must say this plainly, because it matters more than anything else I will say today. If there is a home where one person is afraid of another, where there is cruelty or violence or the threat of it, then this is not a matter of 3 gentle rules, and no discipline of speech will make that home safe. That is a situation that needs real help from people trained to give it, and to reach for it is not a failure, but the bravest kind of wisdom. These rules are for the ordinary frictions of ordinary homes, the daily collisions of people who love each other and wound each other by accident. For that they are powerful. But be honest about which kind of home you are in, and if it is the other kind, seek the help that kind requires. Now I want to take a moment, because this is the part that matters, and it is bigger than any one house. Think about who profits from your home being a place of friction rather than peace. A person who finds no rest at home is a person who goes looking for it everywhere else, and everywhere else something is waiting to be sold to him. The screen that pulls each family member into a separate world at the dinner table is not there by accident. It earns more from a distracted, lonely person than it ever could from a contented one gathered with the people he loves. There is no money in your peaceful kitchen. A family sitting together, present, at rest, needing nothing and no one outside that room, is a family that cannot be sold the endless small comforts that are pressed on the restless and the lonely. So you are pulled gently, constantly, away from one another and toward the glowing elsewhere, and the home empties of presence even as it fills with people, and it is dressed up in fine words, connection, staying informed, never missing out, and some of that is real. But underneath it is a simpler truth no one profits by telling you. A home at peace is a home that asks for very little from the outside world, and a population whose homes were true sanctuaries would be a far harder population to sell to, because the deepest hunger, the hunger the whole machine feeds on, would already be fed at home. I am not telling you there is a villain who planned this. There is no meeting. It is simpler and almost worse. It is only that no one, anywhere, earns a coin from the peace of your home, and so no one will ever build it for you. You have to keep the rules yourself. You were not born needing the world's noise inside your own walls. Watch small children in a calm house, and you will see that they need almost nothing to be at peace. The presence of the people they love and a quiet room is the whole of their happiness, and it costs no one anything. The belief that a home must be filled with distraction to be bearable, that silence between people is a void to be escaped rather than a closeness to be enjoyed, was taught to you slowly until you could no longer sit at a table with the people you love and simply be with them undistracted, the way human beings did in every home for 10,000 years. Nobody taught you the other way, not because it does not work. It has worked for as long as there have been people who guarded the peace of their hearth in every tradition, under every name. They did not teach you because a peaceful home cannot be packaged and cannot be sold and asks nothing of anyone but the people who live in it. It is yours. It was always yours. It was waiting under your own roof, beneath all the noise, the whole time. So here is what I want you to do, starting tonight, with the very next flare of heat that rises in your home, and one will, because they always do. When you feel the heat climb, when the sharp word forms and wants out, you keep the first rule. You say, "I need a moment," and you step away, and you do not speak until the wave has fallen. That is all. Begin with the one rule. Tonight, in the one hot moment. Do not try to remake your whole household at once. You will only create a new friction. Keep the first rule once and watch what does not happen, the harm that is not done, the evening that is not ruined, the word that is not there in the morning to be sorry for. You do not have to believe me yet. You only have to refuse the hot word one time and see the difference in the air of your home the next day. The rest will follow, and so in time may the others under your roof, not because you asked them to, but because they felt the weather change. Then tell me in the comments below which of the 3 rules your home most needs: the heat you cannot hold, the small things you let harden into walls, or the sanctuary you have let the world erode. And when you kept the first rule tonight and stepped away from the heat, tell me what happened. I read every one of them. The things you tell one another down there. Teach the people who come after you far more than I ever could, and they are a great part of why I keep doing this. And if any of this rang true, If you are the kind of person who has long suspected that the simple thing was buried under all the noise so that someone could sell you the complicated one, then come back, because there is more. The next thing I want to show you is the practice of the shared silence. The few quiet minutes a family can keep together at the end of a day, present to one another without a word and without a screen, in which all three of these rules find their deepest home. It is the natural next step after this one, the heart of the sanctuary made into a daily practice. Until then, hold the hot word, pull the small thorns while they are small, and remember this above all: the most peaceful homes you have ever stood in were not the ones with the most love or the fewest troubles. They were the ones where someone kept the quiet rules that let the love do its work. An old monk learned everything he knows about peace from keeping the peace of a shared roof. Go gently, and tonight hold the one word that would have done the harm.